That's all. That's all that there is to it.
up, everybody? Welcome back to the Ember Live.
We're back.
Everybody.
What a week. What a week.
Yeah, it's been a special one. Also, hello everybody. I'm back again. Almost a common
Special.
sight
I
around
think
here.
Makahl gets upgraded to special guest star at this point. You know, like
On a very special episode of the Ember Live.
yeah. Doesn't it go guest star? And then if like people like your character, you get upgraded to special guest star. And then if you get a contract signed, you go to part of the cast, right? Is that how that works?
I don't know. Do I look like I've been Me Too'd, my dude? I don't.
That's
hang around
very
Hollywood
true.
too.
Maybe? I don't know. Have you?
No.
Okay. Well, anyway.
So we've got a lot of great and wonderfully awful news for you folks this week.
Yeah.
Special mention, of course, going out to the arrest of Julian Assange. Not something we're really prepared to make a full statement on, because we don't know a lot of the details yet, but it says a lot that the U.S. is calling for his extradition when he's not a U.S. citizen.
Or in any way broke the law, but anyway. Oh, yeah, absolutely, yeah.
I have no idea what the actual circumstances regarding the arrest were. I haven't looked enough into it yet, but it is... It's
Interesting.
Yeah. I don't like that people are making justifications to arrest people in countries half the world over for crimes that aren't crimes.
See, this is one thing that... Okay, so the UK Labour Party, mostly trash, right? Mostly trash.
Okay.
They did one good thing because they said, well, we're going to make sure that we fight Julian Assange's extradition, just full stop. And I was like, huh, all right, fair enough.
I may not like you, Diane Abbott. I may not like you, Jeremy Corbyn. But I can agree with you on this.
Yep. This is one of this is one of those examples of the broken clock being right.
Damn it! Stop stealing my lines.
But anyway, that acknowledgement aside, shall we move on to the first article of the day, gentlemen?
Yeah, absolutely.
Let's.
All right. Should I head us off?
Yeah, lead us off, Shane.
Nick Fuentes gets banned from Twitch following debate on Trainwrecks TV.
Oh, boy.
So, shocking no one, Latino conservative Nick J. Fuentes was banned from Twitch.tv following his debate with several other political pundits, which included Destiny and Sargon of Akkad. Also, of note, Hassan Piker, a.k.a. Cenk Uyghur's nephew.
Falling upwards.
I shouldn't say formerly, because apparently he's still with the Young Turks.
Yeah.
Surprisingly. The ban was noticed by Kotaku and Action, who had been following the debate, and the reactions from left-wing activists who wanted to deplatform Sargon and Fuentes. Imagine my shock. So, for those who aren't aware, Nick Fuentes is a sort of paleo-conservative Catholic. We don't really agree with, I think, anything
that he would ever talk about, period.
But at the same time, the dude has a right to express his views, and I don't think he said anything that was against the Twitch terms of service.
Not really.
No, that's all Destiny. He broke every terms of service that Twitch has.
Oh yeah, that's
but
another
he's still
story.
here.
Oh, we'll get to that. That's a bit of a side note on this one, but
Yeah. So shortly after the debate ended on the 5th of April, 2019, Fuentes was banned from Twitch.tv. If you attempt to visit his Twitch page, it turns up empty. Fuentes acknowledged the ban after stating that he had won the debate. In a tweet from him.
Opinions are divided on that point.
Yeah, I would certainly disagree after having watched it. But he's welcome to his opinion. Everyone is welcome to their opinion, even if they're wrong.
Yep.
Fuentes, I win the debate last night, and in retaliation, the little baby man and other leftists get me kicked off Twitch, Lamau. Says it all right there. I mean, I don't think you won, Nick, but at the same time, it doesn't speak well to them being, I guess, what you would even call them. It doesn't speak well to their ideological position that they would ban someone for having a debate.
Yeah.
So Twitch made no announcements about it, but it came after a flurry of protests and reports following the airing of the near 4-hour live stream debate on Trainwrecks TV, which you can view below, courtesy of Nobo. Or Noebo. The deplatforming was advocated by Nathan Grayson, a Kotaku blogger, as captured
Oh!
in action. On
This
April 4th,
fucker!
2019.
This fucker came back!
Well, yeah. Did he even ever leave? He hit himself for a bit, and then he's just back to his old tricks.
Across a thread of tweets, Grayson stated, "There's a debate on Twitch right now featuring two big-time alt-writers, Sargon and Nick Fuentes. That's got nearly 30,000
Well, we're gonna put
viewers."
Sargon in quotation marks as alt-right, because that's just...
I mean, throw them both in quotation marks. Fuentes is a paleocon.
Yeah.
And he's not white.
Right.
Kind of hard for a Latino to be a white ethno-nationalist.
That's very true. Yeah, let's make sure that we that we're being precise on alt-right. That's 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 ethno-state, white nationalist bullshit.
White nationalist ethno-statists who want to create their own state based on the white identity.
Yep.
Obviously, no one sensible agrees with them.
Yeah, well, wouldn't Sargon and Nick Fuentes both be kicked out of the ethno state?
Yes.
So that's a hard no.
As you'd expect, Sargon and Nick keep tossing out verifiable nonsense that you can easily disprove outside the arena of debate, but that ends up looking just as valid as much more reasonable points made by Destiny and Hassan.
Okay, so question. If it can be disproven outside of a debate, why don't you get your ass in there and disprove it in the debate?
That's the wonderful thing. If it can be disproven outside a debate, it can be disproven inside a debate. If you're making that excuse, then why don't you just
get in there and fuck them up, Nathan?
This is why you don't give platforms to people like this, even when they're
because they're gonna rip your ass apart. That's what's gonna happen. Because you're fucking wrong.
By proxy.
Like, Sargon's newest video on his secondary platform already got more views than this debate did.
Yeah.
Well,
what platform? They have their platform.
Who cares even about the argument for a platform?
Yeah. Fair.
Like, what is a statement? End up looking legit by proxy. If they look legit by proxy, it's because the people they're arguing against
look retarded.
What does it say about the people who are arguing for your worldview if they can't articulate it? And these are the best you've got for debaters.
Yeah, like losing to Sargon in a debate.
Things that will never go on my bucket list.
Like, I like the guy, but he's not a good debater. Like,
he's not great. He's okay. He's pretty good.
He's okay.
He's okay.
He's okay. He gets wound up a lot if people don't take him seriously.
Yeah.
He gets wound up. he's susceptible to the alt-right's tactic of functional nihilism, where when they get challenged on a point and immediately cede point and then act like the point doesn't matter, that pisses him off.
Yeah.
Because it's essentially just shifting the goalpost, but that's neither here nor there. The thing that gets me is it was hilarious to sit there and hear Destiny essentially espouse that he was a neoliberal
Oof.
and a social democrat,
Like,
and then turn around and argue from a liberal point of view on several occasions, where you have Hassan Piker, the socialist, arguing beside him, constantly challenging Sargon on capitalism and the problems within the capitalist state. Well,
and that was funny as hell.
A literal neoliberal, a man who calls himself a neoliberal. You know, the kind of the same kind of people as Hillary Clinton.
Yeah.
I don't know. It just kind of weirded me out a little bit. And then, of course, like less than a week later, Destiny comes out and says, "Yeah, no, like I'm to the point of committing physical violence against anyone who calls himself a conservative." I got some news for you, Destiny. Attacking people is not a liberal position.
No, not at all.
Not in the slightest. Like, you want to talk about being fucking disingenuous. Calling yourself a liberal and then arguing for the sake of attacking someone for any reason other than self-defense? I have reason to believe you're full of shit, buddy.
I think the best you could say that Destiny is full of shit. Like, that's the best that you could say.
But anyway, so the next day after Grayson's tweet storm, Fuentes was banned. He had to go on damage control to fix some of the calumny being spread by left-wing agitators, pointing out that he's a conservative, not a natsock, and he also pointed out that he's not even white, which we already mentioned. Tweet from Fuentes: "How many times do I have to say it? Not a white nationalist, not a neo-Nazi, not a Holocaust denier, not in favor of a white ethno-state. I'm a Latino campus conservative."
Yeah, but well, what's the difference according to the left?
Apparently none, which is why
Yeah.
the word Nazi no longer means anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is doing a great service to actual Nazis.
To the actual fucking alt-right.
It's almost like having no standard of definition really does a great fucking job for when you're trying to label people.
Right. It's absolutely ridiculous.
Like, there's only the people who already believe that everybody to the right of Stalin is literally Hitler that agree with you. And everybody else just ignores it.
This is where, like, the far left like to bring up this idea of the meme of being a centrist. Like, where it's like the picture of the KKK where it's like, I want to kill all black people. And then on the centrist is like, can we just, like, all live together? And, like, the centrist is like, well, we can figure out a middle ground. It's like, no, that's not centrism at all. You fucking idiots.
Centrism is not the middle point between all policies.
Right.
It's making policies from either side that make sense.
Right.
Yeah.
I would agree with the left when they say, let's not just kill all black people. I don't want to do that at all.
No, exactly. Like, murder is wrong. Point.
Yeah.
Easy.
I would agree with the left on murder is wrong.
Yeah.
So is discrimination. I would agree with the right on big government is wrong. We should try to keep it small as much as possible.
As much as you can possibly keep it, yeah.
Yeah, like, government only needs to be as big as it is literally necessary for for a country to function.
Yeah.
And preferably no bigger than that.
This is why I'm a libertarian.
Ooh.
Well,
dangerous word to throw around.
liberal-leaning libertarian. I don't know. I'm just
It's
right
weird,
of center
yeah.
on something.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, it's getting off track. So
Yeah.
this was part of a longer series of criticisms for Fuentes on the left and their penchant to deplatform people by misrepresenting them and forcing people to either comply with the new. I disagree with this statement. New liberal Overton window. It's not a liberal window.
No,
And
it's
I
the
hate the
Overton
fact that
window.
people have. I hate the fact that people have taken the word liberal and bastardized it this way.
It's a disgrace.
It's the same as what they've done with Nazi, just to a lesser degree.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Mhm.
or risk being castigated.
Which is why we created a separate fucking term. Because we're like,
Yeah, like
well, we didn't
like-
create it. That's why Sargon tagged it as a different term.
Yeah.
Because it's just like, fuck this. We're not even going to try to fight that one. It's like in Clerks 2 when Dante's running around with that shirt that says porch monkey for life, you know? He's like, nah, it's all right. I'm taking it back. It's like, no, you can't take it back. Just let it go. That's one thing that we can let go.
Yeah. Yeah, you can't let everything go, but the word liberal is just too far gone
Yeah.
in America.
Yeah.
Anyway, across a series of tweets, Fuentes stated, last night's debate demonstrated very clearly what we already knew, that the left will not tolerate any degree of dissent on any issue by anybody. Any deviation from the range of approved opinions, and you will get dehumanized and then destroyed. The Watson example illustrates this point very clearly. There's no permissible way to disagree with the status quo. Even one of the greatest scientists of all time cannot express an apolitical scientific opinion. They say he was irresponsible. What does responsible look like? I'm not exactly sure what reference he's making here. But anyway, even in the debate yesterday, who was supposed to represent the right? An English liberal and a transgender person. Even that ticket was too extreme for some of the left-wing observers calling Sargon alt-right. Bring on an authentic conservative and they treat me as subhuman. At the end, Trainsrex is saying how his guests are good people, and Bonehead and the little guy start snickering. I'm not a good person because I think 60 million immigrants is a little much. I'm not sure where he's getting that figure, but okay. Tell me about your relationship with your wife and child and how you... Oh, Jesus. Okay, yeah, that's getting a little spicy into Destiny's positions.
Yeah.
A lot of moral grandstanding about my political beliefs from a couple of nihilistic hedonists who don't even believe in... Okay.
That's edgy
Yeah,
and spicy.
That's the Catholic coming out already.
Yeah.
Yeah, all right. I did some research, and the Watson example that I mentioned is James Dewey Watson, like a molecular biologist.
Okay.
And they are the ones that invented the double helix DNA structure.
Okay.
And
well, discovered it.
Yeah, discovered it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and in January this year, actually, like since 2000, he said something about skin color and sex drive being linked due to melanin being linked to sex drive, and he got blasted for that.
See, I hate that shit. I absolutely hate that shit.
Yeah, he made a biological comparison, and that's they just blasted him for it.
So what he's looking at is observable evidence of a causal link from one genetic code, and seeing that genetic code splices into a couple different things. Like
even genetic. Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah, no, that's like he didn't even go back to the genetic code. He basically went to melanin improves sex drive, and because melanin causes the darkening of skin, causal link. And yeah, and that's why I need to read something further, but I think he lost a job for it or something.
Yeah, that doesn't seem controversial to me at all. Just at all.
No, it's just facts, and he got blasted for it.
Yeah.
Imagine pointing out that biology has traits associated to it.
Yeah, but that's not accepted dogma anymore.
Yeah.
Don't you know everyone is their own special secret snowflake that is a complete different recombination of genetic material that has no possible deterministic, or I shouldn't even use the term deterministic, just no traits whatsoever that are at all influenced by your genetics. That's why people are born with purple hair and orange eyes, don't you know?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Like, I don't believe that the racial IQ issue is one that is worth mentioning.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
no, it's like
it's a complete non sequitur. But
yeah, it's just
I just shit like this gets under my skin, where you can't even mention a causal link between fucking melanin and your sex drive.
Yeah. Now, I am on the I totally am on the idea that that races are real, and that they have genetic differences, and some of that is IQ, right?
Sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but isn't IQ like way more being like, sure, race has a bit to do with it, but isn't it more like good nutrition when you're young?
Yeah. Oh yeah. There's a
As
lot
a-
more factors than just pure genetics, man. Like.
Yeah, like exactly,
like,
and that's like all those freaking ethno nationalists keep jumping out that the IQ in Africa is like really low, but that's because of the fucking wars and the
oh, there's multitudes of environmental factors that cause that, man. Like
Yeah.
I've made a one of my arguments on this is straight up. It was like, okay, so let's just like we're gonna play around in a bit of a what is it called?
Hypothetical.
Yeah, a bit of a hypothetical situation where we take all of the black people and we move them out of Africa, we put them into Europe, right? Guess what happens? They turn into white people that would probably have a very similar society.
Over like thousands of years.
Yeah, like not fast, but yeah. Eventually.
Eventually, it's because.
Well, no, I agree on the white people part. I don't agree on the society, because society has way more factors than just intelligence.
Right. That's what I'm saying.
Like culture is a big thing, and like
it would be pretty similar. I would imagine.
African culture. No, like it depends. Like it's way too many factors to just. I don't think it's the same culture. Maybe.
Oh, I never said. I will never say the same. I will never say the same. But there's going to be some things that develop out of the environment that appear in that culture.
True, but like a lot of. Oh yeah, sorry. Like a lot of culture is also in Europe is because of like it's inertia.
Yeah.
Like different starting positions mean different outcomes, and like just the locations on everything isn't enough.
Mm-hmm.
No, it's the locations, when people arrived, where they arrived, and the history that played out between them across that time. The history that played out between individuals, important individuals who left their mark on history and changed things.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the part that the ethno-nationalists on either side, I shouldn't say ethno-nationalists, some of them aren't nationalists, but the ethno-collectivists, shall we say, on both sides, never seem to pay attention to. History doesn't care about your race. It cares about the individuals who make a mark.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Salah-ad-Din was a Kurdish Arabic man, but he left a bigger mark on history than probably any white dude alive at the time.
Well, he was at the same time with Richard Lionheart, but yeah, probably a bit more. I don't know too much about Islamic Middle Age.
It's a fascinating chapter of history. I recommend you look into it. He was the one who I believe actually defended Jerusalem against Richard the Lionheart. But anyway.
Yeah, correct. That I know. It's just like I'll pencil it in after like the 10 other books I'm reading right now.
Right.
So to finish off the article, this sort of deplatforming has been common among the left when any of their points are challenged in an open. Twitch is specifically left-leaning. They opened a diversity and inclusion department.
Oh boy.
Well, that's like a red sign. That's like, yeah, okay, this isn't going to go much further anymore.
They will ban people who say things they determine to be hateful, even if it's said or done off-site. And they also banned Deadmau5 for using the word faggot to denigrate another person on the platform.
Oh, so even the massive word is banned.
This is basically just another demonstration of the left controlling nearly all the major forms of internet communication, and anyone who steps out of line, shares views they don't agree with, or expresses opinions that undermines the liberal hegemony, they may be censored or deplatformed. I don't know exactly about that, but...
Yeah, the left controls most mainstream internet platforms.
Right.
Well, the right is more in the alternative tech side and the less well-used websites. And yeah, like basically the left was more interested in all the news and everything and the communications. And then the right were just forced into making their own. Because they couldn't expect to use the lefts anymore. Because they kept getting kicked off.
Surprise, surprise.
Right?
It's almost like when you censor people, they go make their own thing. And then now people have
I'm going to go make my own thing with blackjack and hookers.
And hookers.
And now the Dissenter app has been banned from Chrome and
yeah, but
Firefox and
like, why are you still using Chrome? Like, why are you still using Chrome? And you can still use them on those platforms, but you can't get it from the store.
Yeah, you just gotta.
You need the developer mode and go get it from the website specifically.
Yeah, but well, why do you still use Chrome? Like,
I don't. I use Brave.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I'm lazy.
Yeah, okay. PSA okay, PSA people. If you want to get your data, give your data to Google, use Chrome. Otherwise, look for another platform, another browser. There's a lot of good ones out there.
Hey, Brave, if you want to do a sponsorship, we'll plug you.
I'm literally watching all the news articles in Brave right now. So
nice.
Yeah, it's a very good Chromium type browser with zero hacking, as far as I know. Zero trace.
It's built on the same base code as Chrome, but it has a lot of built-in extra features. It has private browsing with Tor. One other thing it has is built-in Brave rewards, which is a system where you can just you set up a wallet essentially to pay out monthly to whatever creators you watch or view, and if they also have Brave, they can collect that and essentially extract the cryptocurrency as real money.
Yeah,
it's real neat.
It's like, yeah, that's what cryptocurrency is good for. It facilitates payment between individual people without too much backend.
I'm not sure if it's done through PayPal or what, but anyway.
I think they use PayPal, but I'm not sure. I can check.
Either way, should we move on to our next article, gentlemen?
Yeah, absolutely. I'll take this one because this is a local one. So, on the surface, it's going to be like, well, why the hell did Matt pick this one? And there's a section of this that really, like just kind of brings up the whole, like, nonsense and of, like, the UN sustainable bullshit, right? And the reason also why I brought this up is because this is even in middle America that this stupid shit's gotten to, right? All right, so for those of you unaware, I live in an area where we don't have a damn flood wall put up on the Mississippi River, and it floods every single year, right? So this picture right here is the downtown area of where I live. As you can see, there is a train that's on the tracks that are underwater, right? So make no mistake, the Canadian Pacific Railway's decision to raise the level of the railroad tracks running through downtown Davenport is a potential but very real threat to the city's most valued asset. The Mississippi River and its access to it via a riverfront that stretches the length of the city's downtown has been at the center of public and private development and planning for decades. Put simply, the question of how to enhance and leverage this precious natural asset has consumed an enormous amount of thought, ingenuity, and investment. We cannot allow it to be severed like a useless limb from the rest of the city. Yet the Canadian Pacific's decision to permanently raise the tracks that run the length of our riverfront rightfully is prompting concerns at City Hall and beyond. Mayor Frank Klipsch and the gathering of the city's aldermen raised these worries Tuesday. As Klipsch said later, the primary concern is of public safety. The railroad carries a vast array of goods through our community, and ensuring the tracks are raised so that the trains can pass safely through a downtown is a primary concern, he said. Yet city officials also say they have no real oversight of the work. We understand that the railroad is largely regulated by the federal government, but the lack of oversight by the city, which is charged with public safety responsibilities, is unsettling. The railroad said when it is finished, it will have raised the tracks 20 inches at the Brady, Main, and Perry crossings, while the one at Gaines Street is the subject of discussions with the city. As the question of access, the railroad told us it had committed to the city that approaches to the crossings will be upgraded to the city's satisfaction. Let me scroll through. Here we go. This is where... So, we are hopeful the railroad sticks to that. Some of the city's most valuable assets sit on the other side of the tracks, including modern Woodman Park and LeClaire Park. Now we shift into the leftist bullshit. We are skeptical, though. We know how tone-deaf railroads in this area have previously been about the city's concerns over their operations. The rusty overpasses, which are owned by another railroad, have for years been a thorn in the side of City Hall, which has argued that they could made to look better, yet they continue to be an eyesore. Let's see. Yeah. But as we go through, as you guys can see all of this, right? Like, it's just like, it is an opinion piece on it, and you start to kind of look through it, and you're like, it's nothing overt, but it's like, you can kind of tell that it's like, oh, fuck the capitalists, railroad shit, and,
Yeah.
the tone-deaf people, that tone-deaf railroads, I'm just like, and if I remember correctly, I was reading through this, and they, let's see.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean,
We can move on. That's all I wanted to bring up to that. Here we go.
only thing I was going to say is that I can't see why people are taking issues with what is quite obviously a safety concern.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
That railroad is running at ground frickin' level.
Yeah, and they want to raise it 20 inches, which has been done before. So, my main point on this is it should be able to be, there should just be a damn flood wall. And
Like 20 inches, that's like half a meter, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's nothing.
Yeah. Why are we bitching about it? I don't know.
Oh, hey, there's a small hill here that we have to climb now if we want to cross the tracks.
Yeah.
Also, it points out that there's frickin' tracks here.
Yeah.
You know, so that the stupid kids don't stumble across them.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
All right. You want to take this one, Makahl?
Yeah, sure. Okay, 2019 Edmonton Pride Festival cancelled.
Oh, this is a doozy.
Oh yeah, this one is great. I've heard a bit about it. Okay, it's normally one of the most well-attended events in Alberta's capital, but this year the Edmonton Pride Festival won't take place at all, according to an email sent out by organizers Wednesday
Oh
afternoon.
boy. Why?
Yeah, let's see. Let's find out, shall we? Global News has obtained a copy of an email sent out by the Edmonton Pride Festival Society explaining why the 2019 edition of the annual event, which aims to educate people and create a spirit of unity by celebrating gender and sexual diversity, has been called off. It is with heavy hearts that we inform you that the Board of Directors has voted to cancel the 2019 Edmonton Pride Festival, the email reads. The email goes on to remind its recipients that the Pride is a non-profit run almost entirely by volunteers and that the organizers have concerns that they would not be able to host a safe and enjoyable event this year. Okay, so there's some security concerns.
Yeah.
Seems that way.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just like, yeah, okay, I don't get paid for this. I don't want to take the security risk on me, so nope. That's a very good sentiment. Very understandable. A member on the Society's board of directors, whose name Global News has agreed to keep anonymous, said a funding and volunteer deficit, as well as a belief the organization could not fulfill its mission to unify the community, led to the decision to cancel the event. All right.
So there's a split in the community.
Ah.
Yay, interesting. Wherever could that be?
I get this feeling that. I'll let you read it. I have some suspicions.
Yeah, in a separate email from the Pride Society that Global News obtained, festival organizers address a meeting they held with members of the group on April 4th. Global News has learned members of Shades of Color, an Edmonton group that advocates for queer and trans black folk, indigenous folks, and people of color, attended the meeting. All right.
Don't say.
Yeah. The festival has been provided demands involving a complete restructuring of our festival and our commitments to sponsors, which we needed to bring out to our membership. Pride Society said in an email dated April 6th. A special meeting was called as per our bylaws. We invited 4 representatives of the groups requesting the demands to speak to the membership. Due to these demands being non-negotiable, we needed our membership to discuss them and put them to a vote. Like, why are they non-negotiable? Like, is the position of those of the Shades of Color that strong?
From the sound of it, it sounds like they're holding the Pride Festival hostage, almost.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Well, let's just add brown and black on top of the Pride flag. Not below, on top. The society was presented with a list of 7 demands, including ending the Pride Parade and providing annual funding for Shades of Color America now. Yeah, so it's just basically, it's a shakedown.
Yeah.
No floats, no corporate, just community groups, and it would be a protest march instead, and then they asked for each group to receive $20,000 a year in funding from us.
Imagine having the fucking balls to demand 40 grand in funding from a group of volunteers.
Yeah, like...
After you ask them to cut any and all corporate sponsorship of their event.
That... This sounds like... Oh, man.
This sounds like a fucking gang shakedown.
This sounds like this kind of stuff you'd get hit up on for tax evasion.
Right. I've seen this on a computer. It's called ransomware.
Yeah.
This is literally what they did. They held the Pride Festival ransom. It's pay us 40 grand, cut out the corporate sponsorship, cut out the floats, or else.
Yeah.
What is the or else?
Let's find out, shall we? The
Please,
society's
yes.
email said the other groups attending were told they could only have 4 people attend because of limited capacity in the meeting room, but the groups told them it was all of them or no one. And the demands continue.
Jesus.
Show of force. Yeah. We have been informed there would be protests, the email reads. We believe in the right to protest. When the protesters entered the meeting area, we were fearful for our safety and the safety of others and we moved our meeting to another location. Yep. Have you paid your security tax today?
An
It would be a
excerpt
shame
from
if somebody were to happen to your members, wouldn't it?
an excerpt from the letter. Indeed, several of our board members and staff were pushed and shoved. One board member was cornered and yelled at and told they were not allowed to leave.
Fuck you, communist! Would have been my
Yeah.
response. You fucking jackbooted piece of shit.
Sorry, go ahead, Makahl.
Yeah, it's just like wow, these people, and they get away with it too. That's the big issue. Like,
Oh yeah,
keep
because they
getting
have
away
the
with
correct
fucking
amount
bullshit.
of tags
Melanin.
on their shit, right?
Yeah, even those of us with privilege, we are still marginalized, a marginalized community. The board member said. We've suffered
Oh
assault.
boy.
Yeah. Oh, it's like they just keep eating themselves.
Yeah.
Like
You would think this would be the wake-up call, but no.
No,
They're
not at
still
all.
Embracing,
Like-
still embracing the privilege narrative.
Even
Like,
those of
there's
us
been,
with
like-
privilege, I'd have been like, fuck those guys. I would have like
yeah, okay. So from like, is privilege getting if getting shoved around is being privileged? I don't want to know what being non-privileged is.
right. It's just like it's staggering that they see this and it
That they
happens
let
to
it
them.
happen to them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
It's
there's
not enough for them to be like, oh, maybe we fucked up.
yeah.
Yeah, no. They went like, well, they're hiring a progressive stack, so we just gotta let them get away with it, I guess.
Yeah.
Just,
Assault, intimidation, verbal assault, you know.
Yeah,
Everything.
the kind of stuff you'd usually see a judge for, but apparently not. The email went on to say that until we are able to hold a membership meeting and receive direction from our membership on how we are to proceed with these demands, we will be conducting the 2019 Edmonton Pride Festival as planned. Okay, yeah, this is probably an earlier email, I guess.
Yeah.
Okay. It is not clear what role, if any, the April 4 meeting played in the event's cancellation. Well, I can make a decent guess. On Wednesday night, Shades of Color issued a statement about Pride's cancellation on its Facebook page. All right, let's see this. This is going to be juicy.
Yeah.
It is with profound disappointment that we express our abhorrence at the actions carried out by the Edmonton Pride Festival Society, which culminated in the decision to cancel the 2000. It was not their freaking actions, it's yours.
Yeah.
Like, we are calling this decision for what it is, namely a disavowal of deep systematic problems in the framework of EPFS, as well as an attempt to dismiss, target, and put out of play the efforts put on part of Black, Indigenous, and people of color in this LGBTQ. I'm gonna not read the other symbols.
LMNOP.
To point, yeah, exactly. To point towards alternatives on how this organization carries out its activities. So no, basically, you're angry. Your shakedown didn't work, and there wasn't any fucking feathers on this chicken. Time and again, EPFS has taken advantage of some of the most vulnerable members in its community As you may remember, on April 4th, 2019, EPFS was uncaringly willing to deploy the very policing institution that they are still under fire for defending at the expense of racialized and colonized members in the LGBTQNLP community. You can read the entire statement below.
Okay, so apparently...
So basically, it sounds like they just called the cops on them.
Yeah, and the whole drama over that is, I think, in 2017, the police were, I guess, either asked or like invited to join the Pride Parade, or either that or they tried to join themselves. There's some background story to this, and I guess some people were very upset about it because the origin of Pride is, of course, because of what happened in Stonewall.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, you know, I think a lot of people have accepted that, you know, times have changed a bit since then, and
the cops don't really give a fuck if you're gay or not, for the most part.
Least
the times they are changing.
I mean, I don't know. Alberta's pretty like conservative a province, I guess, by Canadian standards, but I still don't think they care all that much.
Yeah.
I can't say for certain. Obviously, I don't live out there.
Yeah.
But I think obviously the intent then was to try and maybe bridge some of the gaps and heal some of the wounds that people have been dealing with over the past, 40-odd years.
Yeah, and I was going to say, Stonewall happened in the 70s. Or was it the late 60s?
I think it was the late 60s, if memory serves. It's been 50 years, guys.
Yeah. The cops fucked up.
Yeah, imagine not being able to say, sorry guys, we'll try to do better next time.
Yeah.
And then just getting
yelled out
when
a organization that helps draw awareness to that particular situation is like, it's time to heal, and reaches out, and then some members like, no, fuck the cops, and you're like, so they just live in perpetual guilt. There's no redemption path. It's just, no, they fucked up once.
Yeah,
they're
some
gone.
Guys 50 years ago who are probably dead fucked up, and now you hold it over the heads of every cop ever because of it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It's like they show. It's like they show the goddamn purity spiral, and it's just, it's like it becomes like when you start to see that shit, you're like, oh, so this is where the authoritarian left started. Was like this shit. Like this is where it started. Was the idea of like, there's no such thing as a good cop. They're all bad and wanting to kill a bunch of people.
And don't get me wrong. I don't pretend that there aren't still stories of like incredibly fuck-offy cops these days.
Oh yeah.
Like I've seen footage of it happening.
Yeah.
I know there are shitty cops out there.
Yeah.
But you can't just brand all of them as the same thing.
Right.
Especially not if you want to be treated as not all the same thing.
The best part about that is the cops, like, from what you're saying, the cops showed up. They showed up at a Pride festival.
Yeah, to take part and hang out and be positive members of the community. Imagine.
If these people were just such bigots and homophobes, would they even show up?
Maybe a bit of tear gas.
But where were we?
I think we were just stopped. Yeah.
The Pride Society's decision. Yeah. I think it's where we're at.
The Pride Society decision not to act on a call to ban police and military officers from taking part in the festival boiled over during the Pride Parade last summer. The parade was held for about a half hour when demonstrators blocked the route to demand that police, RCMP, and military members be banned from marching in future parades.
What if they're gay, though?
Yeah.
Yeah, like that's issue one. Issue two is like, how the hell could like this kind of parade be stopped? Like, Like I'm European, so I don't understand how disorderly those fucking parades are. Apparently, but here, if like unannounced protesters show up to interrupt a freaking parade or something, like they get held back
Oh,
by the cops.
dude, if I was organizing something like this and a bunch of people and I went and got all my permits and got the streets closed down here and a bunch of protesters showed up, I'd call the cops. Get these fuckers out of here. Like,
Yeah, like,
but I'm willing to bet they didn't want to do that because they're just like, oh, we want to seem like we're listening to everybody. It's like, no, fuck these people. Fuck them.
Yeah. If you want to protest, get a permit.
Yeah.
And do it on the
Or
other
go
side of the
stand on the
street.
fucking street.
If
Yeah,
the Westboro Baptist Church showed up without a permit, people will be losing their fucking heads to get them arrested and carted away.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
This is...
Exactly. Like, it's... I guess it's two laws for two different people.
Like, you have the right to publicly protest, right?
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
you can't...
You also have to follow, like, city regulations and bylaws to do it as well.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway.
Yeah. Yeah, okay. Festival organizers agreed to the demands and said the ban would stay in effect for future festivals until all community members feel safe. Well, I would feel a lot safer with more cops around.
What? They actually agreed to that?
Yeah,
Apparently.
So Pride Edmonton is just done now, I guess.
Yeah, well, they were done the moment they gave in.
Right.
Like, they showed themselves as weak. So every predator found the scent of fear.
Yeah.
That's a damn shame.
Yeah, we have committed to moving forward with working with community members willing and able to meet with us to have these difficult conversations, the society said in a statement at the time. Pride was born from protest against police oppression, and to ignore that is to ignore an important part of our history. Yeah, don't forget it then. Just, I guess turning the other cheek is gone.
Oh, yeah. I guess the entire teachings of Martin Luther King Jr. in the civil rights movement is just thrown in the trash, too. Like...
Yeah, but he's probably way too homophobic for the nowadays.
I have a dream that gay people and the police will be able to walk together in the streets hand in hand.
Like, if I were more of a troll, now would be the time to put up a picture of the pride flag with a specific set of words printed on them.
Get a life.
And for the lefty shills amongst us, yes, that's a dog whistle.
Everything's a dog whistle.
Me laughing is a dog whistle. Clowns are a dog whistle now.
Honk honk.
Thank God someone actually stood up and said, "You're not taking the clowns."
I bet the clowns have a lot to say about that.
I mean, she was
like that person was actually correct.
She was cringy as hell, but God bless her, she's the only leftist I know with a spine.
Yeah, exactly. Like, holy fuck, they found one, people. We got one.
Ladies and gentlemen, we got one.
Let's get this train back on the rails.
So yeah, where were we? We have committed to moving forward. Yep.
Yeah, some community members stood up and made sure their voices were heard. They did so respectfully and peacefully, despite the effort and emotional labor. Fuck off, emotional labor. That's not a fucking thing that is required of them. Should we have a similar situation in the future, We hope that we are able to come to a positive resolution.
You're dealing with radical revolutionary communists. Liberals get the bullet too. For God's sakes, do these people not know that? These fucking people are like the Terminator. You can't negotiate with them. They'll never stop. And it's ridiculous to even try. You just have to say, no, fuck off. Go away. But we have to maintain our we have to be inclusive, and no, you don't. You really don't. When there's people that are going to be completely, you give them a right to speak and say, okay, well, that's ridiculous. What you just said is stupid. And we're not gonna give it any credence whatsoever. So,
if they want to have a protest, yeah, sure, they can have a protest. Yeah. They can have their cordoned off area on the side of the street where they can protest all they want.
Yep.
Exactly. Yeah.
Parade rolls on.
Yep.
And if they start shit, the cops cart them away.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Some community members stood up. No, we read that already. A positive resolution as we were able to do. The demonstrators at last year's event described themselves as queer and trans people of color and their allies. Yep. Okay. Jeffrey Rabbit, a community advocate who speaks out about LGBTQ issues in Alberta, spoke to Global News about the cancellation on Wednesday night.
I think it's Chevy Rabbit. I could be wrong.
Yeah, like I'm not spelling that. I'm not saying that correctly. Like I'm a filthy, dirty old worlder who doesn't know about the names in the colonies.
Fair enough.
Okay. I was a little bit caught off guard, she said when asked how she felt when she first heard the news. Really, it's sad for the whole community. The mainstream society, locally and in Alberta, of all places, is really accepting, and I think so many people from the past and present have worked up to this point for our celebrations to take place. And so many of us who are doing the community work, advocating for the gay straight alliances, going out to speak for two-spirit societies, oh yeah, right, indigenous people, going out there to speak for a lot of different organizations. We do this groundwork, this outreach work, and then we come to this celebration, and now, for it to be cancelled, it seems like there's no focal point now.
Right.
Imagine putting in all that work, all that effort, in a society where, things are generally pretty accepting. People are pretty happy for gay people to be around and to be able to openly express themselves, and then to have everything stop because a bunch of identitarians decide that they want to hold, identitarian communists decide they want to hold the whole goddamn thing ransom.
Yeah. For $40,000.
Mm-hmm. For communists, they really do like money quite a lot.
Right.
Don't even get me started on the paradox of communists needing billionaires to make their societies run.
Mm-hmm. I won't, because we've had enough derails already.
Yeah. And we still have to get to the full statement, which...
Yeah, exactly.
Where is that? Is it not listed in this version?
No, I don't think it's listed.
It was in the bottom. Okay, Rabbit said she doesn't know the full story behind what prompted the event's cancellation, but she is concerned by what she sees as divisions in the LGBT community. Yeah, I would hope so, because this isn't a positive.
I don't want to say it, but wake the fuck up.
Yeah.
This is what happens when you let identitarians in.
Mm.
They're a radical fucking element. They have to be stopped.
Yeah, I agree, but like the issue is like, haven't they gotten in everywhere except for the kind of places that were especially set up not to let identitarians in? Like they're frigging everywhere. Like it's like I don't know who said it. Like I heard it somewhere that like identitarians get everywhere except for the places where they're specifically excluded because that's the places where they fight identitarians.
I gotcha. It makes sense.
Yeah. Well, it's another long march, I guess. Hey, this is why you get me, for the laughs. I think there's a lot of okay. We're still back to Rabbit, her comment. I think there's still a lot of emotions going on right now between the left and the right within the LGBT community, she said. I think it's unfair that the hate on one side and the extremism on the other side is now ripping apart the whole group celebration, which is really unfair.
Yes. That is a true statement.
Yeah. Rabbit said she believes last year's interruption of the parade and the ongoing dispute over whether to let police march in uniform may have played a role in the decision to call off the event. I think I agree with that. I advocate that the police should be in our parade, she said. I don't think we should be exclusive. I've really had a good relationship with the Edmonton police and with the army. I think we've... Ooh, that's a bad word. She used the A word. I think we found our next target, people. I think we've built so many bridges and so many advocates have fostered healthy relationships with these stakeholders and organizations. And I think for us to exclude parts of our society that actually serve and protect us is actually going backwards. I think it's wrong.
Holy shit!
Guys, I think we found one.
I think we found another one.
We found a sane leftist.
They do exist.
Mm-hmm.
Now we just need to teach them to meme.
See, this is when I read shit like this and I'm like, this is the left that I remember being part of. Is people like this, which is we're all together in this world and it all fucking sucks, right? But we're just trying to all shuffle through it and go about our daily lives and make connections with people. It wasn't about, oh my god, I'm oppressed.
Yeah. But somebody found out that saying, oh my god, I'm oppressed, gets you brownie points.
Yep.
And it all went downhill from there. Now, she sounds like the kind of person that didn't leave the left, but the left left her.
Yeah.
Which is really sad. Because I don't believe that all these freaking radical extremist identitarians are the mainstream left.
They're not.
I just think they're the loudest.
Yeah, that's exactly what it
is. There's probably like a huge swath of smart, like principled left-leaning people who just aren't active online or politically.
Right.
And the like the extreme left not realizing that, or realizing that and just trying to see how far they go, it's gonna bite them one day. Like eventually, like the extremism is gonna split them apart, and the day can't come soon enough. I feel. Okay, back to Rabbit. I'm only speculating here. I think that's where the tension's coming from, but I don't think canceling the Pride Parade will be effective, and I think it's really short-sighted.
Perfect.
Fair.
Rabbit, you gotta fight the fucking communists, man. You can't let them win.
Yeah. Exactly. Rabbit also suggested the cancellation came at a time when many in the LGBTQ community may need it most. Hey, where's the rest of the letters? We're missing them some. Wow, I didn't think about it before, but like you might actually be able to spot a sane, not straight person just by how many letters they add to the LGBT.
Yep.
With the amount of hate and homophobia going on, I think we can't go run and hide right now. We need to be up front. We need to have a bigger pride. We need to have a bigger parade. We need to come together during times of social unrest within the community and also just outside of the community. We have to come together as a group and stand united, and I don't think this is sending that message. I think it's showing a divided community and in-house fighting, and it's weak.
Yeah.
I couldn't agree more. Like, we found a sane, intelligent, probably lesbian or trans. I don't care. Like,
Maybe two-spirit,
sure.
who knows?
Yeah, well, but she didn't use the 2S, so probably not.
Well, who knows? Her name is her last name is Rabbit.
Yeah, might be First Nation.
Don't want to make any assumptions, but possible.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Okay, as a group and united next week. Earlier this year, the Pride Festival's organizers said the 2019 event would be themed Building Bridges from Stone Walls. Oh man,
Perfect.
Why? It's so good.
Yeah.
Like, it's frigging perfect. And then they get freaking.
Okay, so
Exactly the 15th anniversary of the Stonewall riots.
So one of the things that didn't get carried over into our archived version of the page was a scribed script that had the list of demands. I'd like to take the time now to read some of these demands.
Okay. Do you have a link for this?
Go for it.
Yeah, I'll pop it in the Discord.
Okay.
Bottom of there. So, Pride Demands 2019, as presented by Shades of Color and Rarica Now. ESPF has started to meet our initial demands that we presented at Pride 2018. We are happy that police and military have been removed from Pride. Today, we are meeting to discuss the well-funded QTIB POC space at Pride, which was also a demand mentioned at Pride 2018, as well as other demands. For those unaware, QTIB POC is queer, trans, and indigenous, or I think indigenous or it's queer, trans, intersex, and binary people of color. It's also sometimes QTIBI POC, where the other I is indigenous. So demand number 1, reorganize the structure of Pride. Open Pride with a protest led by QTIB POC, trans folks spelled with an X, and their allies. Allocate funding for QTIB POC and trans folks to host community building and creative workshops and make this the main feature of Pride in the Park. Okay, so they just want to steal the show, I guess. Included in this would be musical performances by QTIB POC artists. Finally, end Pride in the Park with a vigil to honor the lives of LGBT IQ2S plus activists and community members that were lost due to systemic oppression, including transphobia, racism, classism, capitalism, etc.
Oh boy.
Yup.
I guess some people are just more equal than others, I guess.
Okay, so applicant criteria. Applicants will recognize the ongoing, lasting effects of colonization and the ways in which systemic oppression continues to impact the indigenous peoples of this land, as well as displaced and migrant people. Applicants will honor the ways in which colonization has further marginalized queer and trans individuals who are part of these racialized groups. Applicants will acknowledge that whiteness is pervasive in mainstream LGBTQ+ communities.
Jesus.
Applicants will honor this land as indigenous land. We are situated on Treaty 6 territory. This land is home to Cree, Nakota Sioux, Dene, Saulteaux, Ojibwe, Blackfoot, and Métis people. Indigenous folks have relationships with this land, and this land is intrinsically connected to the relationships that we build with one another and with ourselves. The work that we do at Shades of Color and Rarica now honors and recognizes the community-based practices of many Indigenous folks of this nation, and we are blessed to have access to teachings and knowledge that can support QTIBPOC on Treaty 6 land. We need to fight to defend this land at all costs against all threats, including government-sanctioned invading pipelines. Applicants will recognize that people who live with intersecting identities face multiple layers of marginalization. Disability justice, the fight against transmisogyny, the fight against capitalism, the fight against classism, as well as prison abolitionist movements intersect with fighting the ongoing effects of racism and queerphobia.
Wait, prison abolitionist?
Yeah.
Okay, so
Like,
I did not
like
know
Prism is racist, you guys.
They can't be talking about what I think they're talking about, right?
Yeah, they're thinking about 30% honks, 50% honks, 13% honklers.
like they're not talking about getting rid of prisons, right? Like
yeah, they literally are.
They literally are.
It's not even new. Like, this is like a few years old now. The abolitionists.
Just get rid of prison, guys. There's no such thing as prisoners.
Wait. Like, my brain's malfunctioning right now. Like,
law is racist.
Wait, hold on. Like no. My brain's... Give me a minute. I gotta reboot it. So, the first question I have is, where are we going to put criminals?
Well, which criminals?
Any criminals.
Crime is like just yeah.
Crime is racist, Matt. Don't you know?
Yeah.
We can't have law.
But
that's just
but they broke the law.
Yeah, but laws are inherently racist, Matt. Don't you know?
Like, I hear the words that you're saying. I hear them. There's just like a filter in my brain that says no.
Yeah, that's called logic.
Yeah.
It just says no.
Welcome to the abyss. Gaze into it, and it also gazes into you.
Okay. Demand number 2. Rework the budget and provide Shades of Color and Rarica now with $20,000 each. The Edmonton Pride Festival receives well over $200,000 a year from sponsorships, grants, and donations in kind. Out of this $200,000, 2% goes towards community investment. Yeah, how much of it goes towards paying volunteers to host the fucking festival? And let's remind folks, you wanted to cut the corporate sponsorship.
Yeah.
So where are they supposed to get this money?
Out of their own pockets, I guess.
Not everything can be grassroots funded, man.
Oh. While we feel that $20,000 is necessary, we are open to negotiation.
Oh, of course you are.
Weren't these demands non-negotiable? Like, which is it? Are they non-negotiable, or are they open to negotiations?
Look, I'm completely open to the idea of you people, you folks having like issues that you feel need brought up, and like seeking out funding or sponsorship to help deal with some of these issues. But making all or nothing demands, not the way to go about it.
Give reparations, racist.
Also, can we bring up, like, is it racist to bring up the paradox of this is indigenous land, but indigenous people didn't believe in land ownership? They, they,
They'd probably go for that for a good defense.
I'm sorry, my brain's still broken over the prison abolitionists. This is the first time I've ever heard of that.
Isn't land ownership a white concept? Like a white imperialist concept?
Yeah.
Wouldn't the designation of like Territory 6 not exist if treaties hadn't been signed with white imperialists designating that land as indigenous land?
Yeah.
But think about the Trail of Tears, racist.
It's like these people don't think at all.
No, they do. It's just like everything that doesn't agree with them is automatically racist and shouldn't be a concern.
Demand number 5. Write a public accountability statement outlining the harm the EPFS has caused the QTI BPOC community and a public commitment to rectifying this harm.
What is there, like 2 of them? Of the QTIB POC community? Like, it's gotta be a small number, right?
This statement will be publicly released with this document by the EPFS. So we appreciate that you've agreed to meet with us and like concede to our demands, but also apologize and tell everyone you're sorry.
Mm-hmm.
My immediate response would have been, for what?
Yeah, like this starts to sound like jizya to me. Like, we want money, and you're gonna debase yourself while you're giving it to us.
You're gonna bend the knee.
Yeah, that's it. This is just showing who's the dog and who's the master. It's literally just calling heel.
So demand 6, feature shades of color and rare canal on the front 4 pages of the Pride Guide. Holy fuck, 4 pages? You need 4? And demand 7, work with Rare Canal to support QTIB POC refugees and newcomers. Provide resources and writing support letters when necessary, and make a public commitment to center these communities. Wait. Center as in put them in the middle of things, or center as in provide a center for them to happen? These communities often experience further layers of marginalization, lack of access to healthcare, income, housing, language, employment. Oftentimes, queer and trans refugees are not able to access the support of their families or home communities and seek communities resources here. America now provides these individuals with access to ongoing support, oftentimes less necessary to keep community members in the country. And our demand is that the EPFS leverages their power and engages with us in this advocacy work, as this can literally mean the difference between life and death for some community members. It is absolutely crucial that the stance of EPFS on this issue is public for transparency so people can learn about the advocacy work going on in the city and mobilize.
I love the juxtaposition of this. this final statement right here. Thank you for reading through our demands and taking the time to meet with us. We look forward to working together with EPFS and supporting QTIB POC specific spaces in our community. As if this entire document's rational at all.
Thanks for reading our demands. By the way, if you don't agree to them,
we're gonna put a fucking gun to your head and pull the trigger.
well, let's not say that. They haven't expressly threatened violence anywhere. Let's not misrepresent them. But still, they did essentially hold the Pride Festival hostage.
Yeah. For $40,000 fucking dollars. And they want to create prison. They want to forward the cause of prison I can't even say it. Like
prison abolition. Yeah.
I think we broke Matt.
No, dude. Like, oh my god. Like, I don't even know what to say to something like that. Like, if someone came up to me and said, "We want to abolish prisons," I'd be like,
yeah, well, all I want to say is, welcome to Clown World.
We want to abolish prisons. Okay, so you're keeping all the prisoners.
You put them in your house, right?
Yeah. Oh my. Yeah. Okay. I know it's not on the planning for today, but like you remind me of the one that in Scandinavia, like a newspaper went out to talk to people and talk about if they would have places for immigrants, and then the moment they said yes, that they offered that there was an immigrant that was looking for help, and then suddenly everybody was like, yeah, but well, in general we agree, but in this specific case we don't really have the space for it.
So not in my backyard.
Pretty much.
Jesus Christ. You learn something new every fucking day.
We agree with the idea, but we're not actually able to do the thing we're demanding everybody else do, because
yeah, because you're chicken shit.
No, it's because they just don't wanna. Like the only thing I can react with that is like a very good clip from Yes Minister on equality. But yeah, not the time and place. I'll show you guys later.
Anyway, should we move on to the next?
Yeah.
I got it. So we'll go over this. So we got the Daily Caller here.
A Daily Caller exclusive, in fact.
Yeah, exclusive documents detailing Google's new news blacklist show manual manipulation of special search results. Imagine my shock. Google's manipulating the search results like we've always said they were.
Who could have possibly imagined?
Yeah.
Google does manipulate its search results manually, contrary to the company's official denials. Documents obtained exclusively by the Daily Caller indicate.
Imagine my shock.
Yep. What do you mean? There's like this is gonna be a little bull. This is gonna sound like it's gonna come out of a leftist mouth. Imagine my shock. There's a corporation that's trying to hide it doing duplicitous bullshit.
Yeah, like what happened? What happened to Don't Be Evil? I guess.
Right.
They changed that in I think like 2011. Or
yeah.
Yeah, they did. They did. That's what I was getting at.
Don't be evil-ish.
No, just be good.
Yeah.
Yeah, be good.
Two official policies dubbed the misrepresentation policy and the good neighbor policy inform the company's XPA News blacklist, which is maintained by Google's trusted safety team.
Well, if yeah, like the moment you see a trust and safety with an ampersand between them, like you immediately know what direction they're leaning. Like those two words together is like immediately, denied, bad news.
I want to. Who came up with?
There's this. What's the? Yeah, trust and safety councils.
I tell you right now, George Orwell is rolling in his goddamn grave.
Yeah.
Because literally every single time that we have gone through one of these articles, like I think this is what 4 out of 5 that we've gone through now, and there's something about a trust and safety team in it. So
Yeah, but it's like. They have been around for like a few years, and they were basically the beginning of the end of the free internet, or the end of the beginning.
So when I read through this shit, I'm like, who are you guys hiring for? Well, actually, I know exactly who they're hiring.
Mm-hmm.
People like Anita Sarkeesian.
Oh no!
No, those are the special advisors they bring.
Oh, those are the. I forgot. I'm sorry.
Yeah, Anita Sarkeesian is way too right wing for them.
A swerf is too right wing. Well, actually, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Completely logically consistent, in fact. How dare she speak out against sex working radical or sex workers?
Yeah.
Jesus.
Also, she's kind of a has-been.
Yeah. Her channel's dead.
Which is maintained by Google's trusted safety team, TNS. Now we're abbreviating it because.
Yeah, that sounds better.
That
like
sounds better.
Yeah, because it's easier to read over.
TNS will be in charge of updating the blacklist as when there is a demand. Reads one of the documents shared with the Daily Caller. The deceptive_news domain blacklist is going to be used by many search features to filter problematic sites that violate the good neighbor and misrepresentation policies. So, the biggest search engine in existence is now dictating
what news you get to see.
What news you get to see and the websites that you get to see.
Yeah, well, they're the biggest for now, but just wait till Dragonfly comes to the West. It'll be a big hit.
I'll throw my weight behind DuckDuckGo, thanks. They don't take my data.
Yeah, true. Like, but that's like DuckDuckGo is just anonymized Google, so.
There are some differences.
Yeah, no. It's literally they say it themselves. Like they're literally DuckDuckGo is just you give them your search and they just run it through Google for you.
Huh. Weird.
So they're literally like a VPN for Google.
Nice.
Specifically.
I don't know that that's entirely accurate because they do tend to turn up results that Google doesn't. Also,
yeah, but that's because your normal Google results are personalized and DuckDuckGo aren't. That's the difference.
Weird.
Yeah, like I can check it like real quick.
Because the results I get from DuckDuckGo usually tend to be more middle/right leaning than what I get from Google, and I am a liberal leaning libertarian. So I would think that if my Google was specialized to me, they would be more that way than DuckDuckGo, or at least equally so. Unless unless Google is actively trying to take steps to de-radicalize me. That would be funny. And not ha-ha funny, but,
Mm-hmm.
you know, Animal Farm in real life funny.
I don't know, man. I'm going to shift back into this. That document reads that it was approved by Gomes, Nyack, Hassar, as of 8/13/2018. Ben Gomes is Google's head of search, who reports directly to CEO Sundar Pichai.
I'm going to stop you there. It's Gomez.
Gomez? Okay. Gotcha. Pandu Nyack is a Google fellow, and Paul Harar is a software engineer whose bio on Google's internal network MoMA indicates that he is also involved in fringe ranking, not showing fake news, hate speech, conspiracy theories, or science/medical/history denial unless we're sure that's what the user wants.
What qualifies as fake news, my dude?
Not even that. Who the fuck are you to decide what I want?
Well, Google, apparently. Like this, yeah, this was a long way coming. Like,
just give me the raw feed and let me make my own fucking decision.
Yeah, but they stopped doing that a long time ago. Like, YouTube, for example, is also Google, and there's
trust me, we brought that up last week, Makahl, and yeah, we got fucking hit by that shit.
Yeah, but not even that. It's just like that you don't like some channels, like a certain percentage of even the subscribers just don't get an alert when a new video goes up for some channels.
Yeah.
That's just stupid. Like, if I didn't want to see their videos going up, I wouldn't have added them to the subscription list. I know, for example, my subscription list, there's like a few sources that I like generally just ignore. But I want them to be on there for a case when I do want to see them. And keep track of it.
But if you don't watch every single video, that means that you don't really care about them, which means you shouldn't see all their videos all the time. Because you should be using all your time on YouTube to watch YouTube videos all the time, because that's how we built our business model.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, ad blockers.
Right?
Yeah.
The purpose of the blacklist will be to bar the sites from surfacing in any search feature or news product. It will not cause a demotion in the organic search results or de-index them altogether, reads the policy document obtained by the caller. What that means is that targeted sites will not be removed from the 10 blue links portion of search results, but the blacklist applies to most of the other search features like top news, videos, or the various sidebars that are returned as a search results. In a section of the memo entitled Eligibility for GNP, Good Neighbor Policy Enforcement, the types of search results impacted by the policy are described. If your product shows any of the following, misrep and GNP would apply to your PA. Shows content from users and news publishers, perceive 3P voice, example UGC, News Corpus, etc. Output single... I'm sorry?
Basically that's if they have a comment section.
Okay.
Perceived third
that's
party
what it sounds
voice,
like.
or a third person voice.
Oh, okay.
Third party, yeah.
Outputs single answers perceived to come from the open web. Example, web answers, video answers, things like that. Shows content owned, licensed, or edited by Google. Wait a minute. Content owned by Google. So, if I read this correctly, and correct me if I'm wrong on this, if you say you want to, like, pull up one of Google's videos about them discussing AI or something like that, right, and comment on how fucking stupid that is, they're going to de-rank you in their fucking search results. Is that what that says?
That's what it sounds like.
Holy shit!
I guess they did find a way to silence negative opinions of Google.
Oh, but it doesn't touch the top 10 blue links, you guys.
That you have to pay for, right?
What?
Do you have to pay for the top 10 blue links or no? No.
So
No.
the 10 blue links is like your 10 search results that appear,
Okay.
like when you search. But
Got
like everything else is up for grabs essentially. Your image tab, your video tab, ads on the sidebar, this, that, the other.
Yeah, the 10 blue links may not be impacted by the blacklist, but virtually every other kind of Google search result is. While hard numbers are not available for how much traffic is directed through the 10 links versus the other search blocks, since the latter appears so high on the results page, the impact could be significant. Focus on the user, said a source at Google who described the program to the caller. Users need to trust any content that Google shows them, whether it's the 10 blue links or other special search results. How about you assume that people can think for them fucking selves and figure it out on their own? How about you not be a nanny bitch and try to dictate to me what I should find? How about that, Google? Why don't you do that? That's focusing on the user. That is... What you're doing is not focusing on the user. Because, unfortunately, a good chunk of people don't believe you anymore. We just are stuck using your shit because you made it so goddamn well.
It's almost like you made a really good product because you hired all the best engineers to do it. And then once you had that product, you let it be corrupted by an ideology that literally tries to control what results your amazing product provides for everyone.
Yeah. Sundar Pichai testified before the House Judiciary Committee on December 11th of last year. Democratic California Rep. Zoe Lofgren asked why a search for the term idiot returned a photo of President Trump. In response, Pichai said, "This is working at scale. We don't manually intervene on any particular search result." Where have I heard that idea of working at scale before? Can anybody remind me? Was that from Twitter?
Could be. Like, it's the first time I heard it.
I'm pretty sure it came up in the Jack Dorsey and Joe Rogan interview the first time.
Yeah.
Yeah, great.
Now, the concept, I understand what they're talking about. What they're talking about is, well, we tested, we beta tested it, right, and scaled it up. But when we scaled it up, we didn't understand exactly what it was going to do. And then so we typed in idiot, and then the search program pops up a picture of Donald Trump. So this is proof positive again that these fuckers don't know what the hell they're doing. They're fiddling with shit that they don't know what the fuck it's going to do.
I mean, I can believe that Donald Trump would come up first thing when you type in idiot.
Right.
Yeah, like how many times did that guy get called an idiot by mainstream media?
Right.
Like mainstream media aside, how many people think he's an idiot?
I personally think Donald Trump's an idiot.
Hands.
Yeah, he's retarded. I personally think Donald Trump's an idiot. But
I don't think he's an idiot. Like, he's way too smart. Like, idiots do not get to be the president of the United States.
There's always the possibility of failing upwards, man.
I was gonna say,
yeah, but not to this level.
I don't know, man. Bob Dole was the president once.
Yeah, okay. Like, don't get me started on Wilson.
A memo about the deceptive news blacklist was also obtained by the caller, showing its last edit as of December 3rd, 2018, a week before Pichai's congressional testimony. This document, which describes the process by which a site can be blacklisted for deceptive news, clearly shows that there is a manual component. The beginning of the workflow starts when a website is placed on a watch list, which is used for monitoring of sites to determine if they violate the good neighbor policy. This watch list is maintained and stored by Ares, which access restricted to policy and enforcement specialists working on the good neighbor policy. Access to the listing can also be shared at the discretion of P Council and legal investigations on a need-to-know basis to enforce or enrich the policy violations. The investigation of the watch list is done in the tool Athena, the Ares manual review tool, and intake signals from Search, WebSpan, and Ares in order to complete reviews. Once the domain is determined to be violating the misrepresentation policy or the good neighbor policy, such patterns are then added to deceptive news blacklist domains.txt by the trusted safety team.
Does anybody else detect a little bit of hubris right there?
Yes. We control the internet, not you.
Well, I was more talking about their name designations, but
Oh,
yes.
Ares, Athena.
Yeah.
Oh, we're the
Yeah.
enlightened Greeks.
Yeah, the goddess of war and knowledge and the god of war.
Yeah.
Or, well, actually,
That's
it's the Greek versions.
That's the real one that gets me. The Ares manual review tool. They're literally fighting a war.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, if you know anything about Greek Greek mythology, like he's not just the god of war. He's the god of war and rape.
Yeah, he's the god of war and also conquest, if memory serves.
No, that's the Roman versions. Like, there's a difference between Mars and Ares. Like, Mars is actually a pretty decent Roman god, but like Ares, he was despised by the Greeks. Like, he was the bad side of war. He was the rape, the plunder, the pillage. And then Athena was the god of generals and strategists.
The goddess of strategy. Yeah.
No, Mars was the bad side of war. But I doubt Google is aware of that. Like, only history nerds know that. Like, for most people, he's just the god of war. But still, god of war and goddess of tactics and war. Like, it's literally war for them.
Yeah. So, on the blacklist are a number of conservative sites, including Gateway Pundit, Matt Walsh's blog, Gary North's blog, TeaPartyEconomist.com, Caroline Glick's website, Conservative Tribune, a property of the Western Journal, and the website of the American Spectator. You can't trust the human judgment of Google's trusted safety team, said the source at Google with knowledge of their practices. Requests for comment for Google's press team have gone unreturned as of publication time. It looks like there's a bit of an update. This is I read a little bit ahead, so this is bullshit. A Google spokesperson provided the following statement to the Daily Caller after this story was published. We do not manually determine the order of any search results, nor do our algorithms or policies attempt to make any judgments on the political leanings of a website. Our Google News inclusion policies are publicly available online. They provide guidelines on content and behaviors for matters like sponsored content, deceptive practices, and more. Sites that do not adhere to these policies are not eligible to appear on the news surfaces or in information boxes in search. These policies do not impact the way these sites appear in organic blue link Google search results.
Nothing to see here, people. Move along.
So I think what they mean is by like when you actually do the search, it doesn't appear in that. But if I understand how Google works, like if you get referenced in a bunch of their shit, it actually drives. It pushes your information higher into the actual search results. So like, if they start blocking this shit, then it drives your search results down. Like, basically what they can say here, in my interpretation, is like, well, we're not blocking the search results, but you're controlling the knobs that allow someone to rise in the rankings, essentially. Is how I interpret that. I might be wrong.
Could be right. Like, I don't know enough about this kind of software to give a solid opinion. Like, at least they're doing on the secondary results. They're just pulling out results.
Right.
And I think indirectly, yeah, probably, because if you get less clicks through the secondary results, that means you get less clicks overall. So you probably also get a lower ranking for how many people visit your link. So yeah, you're probably right.
Yeah. We're going to skip ahead here to babies born out of wedlock. You want to take this one? You want to finish this off, Shane?
Sure thing. Babies born out of wedlock abandoned on Saudi streets due to fears of punishment, campaigners warn. An exclusive to The Independent. Even with premarital sex, they get rid of the baby by putting them on the street. No matter how open-minded your family is, you can't keep the baby if you are not married, says Saudi woman.
Remember, these people are on the Women's Safety Council of the UN.
Yup.
Babies born out of wedlock are abandoned on the streets of Saudi Arabia as women fear retribution and punishment for having a child outside of marriage, campaigners have warned. Abortion is illegal in the Middle Eastern country unless a woman's health is at risk, and sexual relations outside of marriage are criminalized, with unmarried women faced with prosecution and even jail if they are found to be pregnant. Under the kingdom's restrictive guardianship system, women are legal minors and cannot marry, divorce, travel, get a job, be released from prison, or have elective surgery without permission from their male guardians. Women are also forbidden.
This is
from
our
mixing-
allies, folks. The U.S.
Yeah.
Women are also forbidden from freely mixing with members of the opposite sex. Dana Almayouf, a Saudi woman living in New York, said, "Babies are abandoned on the streets. It is not safe on the streets. Mostly our newspapers in Saudi Arabia do not shed light on the subject because it is a taboo."
I wonder why. I wonder
Yeah.
why it's a taboo. Could you get any?
Religion of peace.
Even with premarital sex, they get rid of the baby by putting them on the street, she claimed. No matter how open-minded your family is, you can't keep the baby if you are not married. Sometimes they kill the girl if she has been raped. If your family is crazy conservative, they will kill their own relatives. On the other hand, the men can have as much sex as they want as long as they don't speak about it. Women in Saudi Arabia, according to Amnesty's latest human rights report, face systematic discrimination in law and practice and were inadequately protected against sexual and other violence. Families often blame the girl if her father or brother raped her, said Miss Almayouf. It would be her own fault. The woman gets the blame most of the time. If you are raped, they look for the reason you got raped, but it is taboo to talk about rape.
Well, I guess somebody is blaming the victim.
Hey, feminists, you know that rape culture you're talking about? This is it.
This is
Yeah.
it. But
Better get onto that. But well, we all know who's highest in the progressive stack, so ain't ever gonna anybody do something about this.
No, that would be that would be shameful cultural interference. Don't you know that the Saudi Arabian people know what's best for their country? And how dare you impose your imperialistic white modern standards on these people? How dare you?
See-
How very dare?
You know what's really interesting? That this is something the feminists and SJWs and the ethno nationalists would agree on. What you just said.
Saudi
Like,
Arabia is a beautiful, unique, and how would Justin Trudeau put this? A wonderful culture that should not be so aggrandized and spoken down towards.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that would be indeed that would be the
Or it's a
leftist
shithole.
opinion. Yeah. And then the ethno-nationalist opinion would be like, yeah, I don't give a fuck what happens over there. It's not a white country.
Miss Alma Youth, who left Saudi Arabia in 2012, I wonder why, said she was too scared to return. She has renounced Islam, good for you,
Good for her.
which is punishable by death under the Saudi system of Islamic law.
Yeah. Yeah, like everybody is so upset about Brunei introducing Sharia, and here's America being allies with Saudi Arabia.
One of
which
our
is
allies.
under Sharia. Yeah, okay. Like one of their allies, not the only ally, of course.
No,
But
I
they
wasn't
also
like
have
yelling at you.
Sharia.
I'm saying this is happening in
Yeah.
a country that the United States is allied with.
I guess that oil is just too important.
I don't know anymore. Like,
Yeah, but the thing is, like this has been happening for years. Like,
oh, I know it's not new. It's just every time I see it come up, I'm like, what the fuck are we doing being allied with Saudi Arabia? These fucking people are trash. The entire country is trash.
Well, that's the political reality, unfortunately, when you're trying to keep Russia away from Iranian oil.
yeah,
Welcome to the Middle East. Britain fucked everything up after World War One.
Well, yeah, okay. Britain did not fucking help, but this is not new. Like, this is not introduced by the Britain.
Okay, I'm not going to sit here and pretend everything was hunky-dory in the Ottoman Empire before then, but let's be real. Cutting the Middle East up into the states that Britain and France did, it didn't help things.
It did not fucking help, but like the big issue is actually is like Saudi Arabia was like the most extreme because of they were desert nomads. Like they knew nothing else. Like the only thing they had was like their cattle, their camels, and their religion. So they were very freaking extremist. And then they found oil. And suddenly they were rich. And then they exported their extremist view on Islam. And then the whole fucking powder keg exploded in the Middle East.
Isn't Wahhabism grand?
Yeah.
Miss Alma Youth has said sometimes people place infants outside of mosques, orphanages, or hospitals due to not being able to hand them in themselves due to fear of other people asking about where the baby came from. But she said that in some cases nobody takes the baby. Miss Alma Youth, who's a photographer, said occasionally Saudi women find furtive ways to illegally have abortions, but this is generally only accessible to those who are rich or well-connected. Sounds like American conservatives.
This sounds like shit that I would read back in the 50s.
Abortion is awful. You shouldn't have an abortion. By the way, we paid for my teenage daughter to have an abortion, but we don't talk about it.
And then we're going to murder you for talking about it.
Whoa. Hold on. Some of the families who abandon the baby kill the girl and tell everyone else she killed herself, she added. Or they will lock her in the house because they are never going to trust her anymore. She is basically imprisoned in the home. It is rare cases when they would not be killed or locked inside.
Remember, people, the statement of a woman is half that of a man's, legally speaking.
Which hadith says that?
Not hadith, sir. That's in the Quran. That's not a hadith. That's the Quran.
Oh, so that's actually that's a Islamic law above the hadiths. Okay.
That's above the hadith.
So remind me, is Saudi Arabia on the Human Rights Council?
Yeah, of women.
The world we live in. Miss Alma Youth, who has recently been granted a work permit by the U.S. government but is applying for U.S. citizenship, said that women who get pregnant outside of marriage will likely be forced to give birth inside the house because it is illegal to go to the hospital to give birth to a baby who's being born outside of wedlock. Campaigners argue Saudi Arabia profoundly discriminates against women. Yeah, no shit. With women's with women's marital rights being effectively non-existent and marital rape not explicitly defined as a crime. The guardianship system makes it almost impossible for victims of domestic violence or sexual abuse to seek justice or protection because the police often insist that women and girls obtain their guardian's authorization to file complaints even if the complaint concerns the guardian.
That's fucked
Very
up.
progressive.
That's completely fucked up.
Hey, honey, can I report you to the police for rape?
No. Absolutely not.
Ow, I'm sorry, ow. No,
First,
not again.
warn them, then send them away. Third, hit them.
The guardianship system makes it almost impossible. Oh, wait, no, I just read that, didn't I?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Saudi Arabia imposes a very strict interpretation of Islam known as Wahhabism. Rotna Begum, I think, Rotna, senior women's rights researcher at Human Rights Watch, said, "It is a widely known issue that babies are left on the street. It is a crime to have children outside of wedlock. If you have managed to escape the authorities noticing you are pregnant, women may choose to abandon babies to avoid crime and punishment, and the stigma and shame of being excluded from their families. The sad thing is, the babies would not have been abandoned if it had not been a crime."
Right.
Having these laws is allowing for people to abandon babies. You've got a situation where they prosecute them for having the babies and then vilify them for abandoning them. It's a catch-22. Miss Beckham, who specializes in Middle East and North Africa, and has extensive research on Saudi Arabia in particular, noted some babies are not abandoned and will end up in orphanages, adding that there are some charities who look after abandoned children. Well, I guess that's something at least.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder how well funded those charities are.
That's like holding up your hand to a tsunami to try to stop it. That's just not gonna.
Yeah, well, yeah, I think like Islam has the same kind of almsgiving that the Christians have, at least internally. So those orphanages might be decently funded, but I doubt it.
Yeah, I doubt that the money is going to those orphanages. At least not nearly in the amount that is needed.
Yeah,
I would hope, but
there's probably a lot more money going to the relatives of martyrs.
yeah, the relatives of martyrs, Islamic relations groups.
Yeah, care.
The campaigner noted that even though sexual relations outside of marriage are criminalized for men and women, the crime disproportionately applies to women because they are the ones who become pregnant, so display visible evidence of the crime. She also argued moral standards of behavior are more readily applied to women than men, and that women are more likely to be deemed to be transgressing them. Women in the country find themselves imprisoned for having sex outside of marriage, she added. If you are pregnant, you could end up in prison regardless of whether it was rape, she said. You can be sentenced while pregnant and detained in prison during your pregnancy, but you will only be subject to lashes after you have your baby.
Oh, so it's completely reasonable because we're not going to whip pregnant women.
You can say, I was raped by a person driving that car, and they can say, why were you in that car? And why did you voluntarily enter a place with a man who is not related to you or is your husband? Saudi women and migrant domestic workers who report abuse, including rape, sometimes face counter-accusations, leaving them open to criminal prosecution, according to a Human Rights Watch report. Women may be charged with moral crimes like kilhwa, which means mixing with unrelated members of the opposite sex, or with fleeing from their homes. Miss Begum said it is possible to get an abortion in the country if you have the right connections, noting that backstreet abortions happen like in any country where abortion is criminalized. Yeah, we found that one out the hard way in the U.S. in like what the 40s and 50s.
Yep.
Yeah, V. Yeah, if you listen to V, like he has exactly the same thing about the Romania and the USSR. That exactly the same stuff happens.
Mm.
Yeah, and
The male
it's
guardian-
fucking barbaric shit because like you have this back alley dude that looks
It's very unhygienic.
yeah,
Mhm.
and he throws her up on her kitchen table and like jams some shit in there, and then says, "Hey, if you start to bleed, you might want to go to the hospital," and then leaves. Like,
Let me get that coat hanger up there.
yeah, and like that reason alone, right? Like you can literally fuck off with every other argument about abortion. Is that I'm going to take the same argument that you make on guns and be like, you can't stop it from happening, which means we should be legalized, taxed, and regulated to make sure that those that want to make those choices don't have to go find some random ass fucking dude in a back alley and die.
Because what's the bigger sin if you really believe in, the sanctity of life?
Right,
One life or two?
right.
Mm-hmm.
You can make that moral argument until you're blue in the face. And, I mean, I'm not someone who believes in, like, second or third trimester abortions unless it's going to be, like, the woman's life on the line.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But even I'm willing to admit that, there's got to be a line somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Absolutely.
remember, we live in an age of postnatal abortions, so like, there's extremes on either end.
Oh, I don't. I'm not saying there isn't, Makahl. I'm not criticizing either side of this. I plant my flag in the criminalization of it simply because I'm like, I don't want people to I don't want people to have to find some sketchy dude that got his medical license taken away because he was a drunk, right? Like, that's what they fucking do this shit on the side for cash and exorbitant amounts of money, and these people die because the doctor that's doing it probably isn't even a fucking doctor, number one, and if they are, they had their shit yanked because they were incompetent or there was something that's fucked up.
Mm-hmm.
And these are the people that run these type of abortion clinics, right? And the ones that are going to you're not going to have to die, probably have a good likelihood of dying, are extremely expensive. Because it's black market and no one fucking knows where it's at. And they probably move it. That shit costs money. And you got to pay fucking, oh my God. Sorry,
And none of that money is going back to the government either.
Yeah.
But anyway, on a more lighthearted note, I believe that anyone who posits that postnatal abortions should be a thing should be the first person to volunteer for one.
Yep.
Exactly. Yeah,
Or at least they should
bad
get their
on either
parents to volunteer for one, I should say.
Yep.
end. Yeah.
So yeah, the male guardianship system is another factor which prevents women from being able to travel abroad for an abortion, as the male guardian may not allow them to go. Fucking figure. A spokesperson for UK abortion provider Marie Stopes said, "We had a woman come over from Saudi Arabia who was pregnant out of wedlock. She was 20 and she said her family would kill her if they found out she was pregnant. I believe it. She managed to get on a plane to visit friends here. We booked her an appointment that suited her travel plans." Saudi Arabia has faced extensive scrutiny and criticism over its human rights record in the wake of its detainment of women's rights activists. It has also been criticized for its role in the war in Yemen and over the killing of Washington Post columnist Jamal Khashoggi in the kingdom's Istanbul consulate in October. A representative from the Saudi government did not immediately respond to a request for comment. Why am I not surprised?
I fucking hate ending like that.
Yeah.
I do too.
Well, today was a doozy. Like the only decent article we had, which didn't end on a freaking down note, was the one about the trains.
Yep.
Like we probably should have saved that one for last.
I know. I'm certain Raven will appreciate an article about trains.
Yeah. Like it started out bad, and we just like every article except
got
for the train
worse.
Just got progressively
It got
worse.
progressively worse. Oh God.
The embers flickering, folks.
Yeah.
The end is nigh. The end is.
Like what we don't subject ourselves to in order to inform the people.
The end is nigh.
Bill!
No, check, please. I'd like to leave now.
Yeah.
So here's what I learned today. I learned the world is fucked.
Yeah. Welcome to the group.
It took you to today to learn that?
Yeah.
And I learned that prison abolitionists are a thing.
Yeah. Yay.
Because that makes fucking sense.
Apparently it does.
To someone it does. It doesn't make sense to me. At all.
All I want to ask is, like, who in that group is, like, growing the peyote, and where can I get some?
Right?
I mean,
Yeah.
I don't want to do however much they're doing, but, I mean, come on, you want to at least take a hit of that. Like, that sounds like it's some good shit.
Like today is the day I'm sad that like I have needed to swear off alcohol just to economic reasons.
Oof.
I could use it.
You wanna lead it? You wanna like hit everybody out with all of our social media shit, and we'll just close this down, and I'll go put a bullet in my own head. Like, Shane, you want to do that? It's like just.
Whoa. We need to have a talk after, my dude. So yeah, you can find us at our website, liberalistia.com, or Liberalistia if you prefer. We're on Facebook as the Liberalist International Association. We're on Twitter, Liberalist_IA, or just Liberalist International Association. You'll find us if you search for both. You can also find us on Minds, on Gab. We're also streaming now on DLive.
Yep.
That may change in the future. Some recent things have come up regarding that we weren't aware of when we first started the idea of streaming. Seems like a decent platform, but the crypto for it might be a scam, so keep your eyes open for that. Don't buy into the crypto just yet. Where else? We've got Minds, Gab, Twitter, Facebook. We're on BitChute as well. We regularly upload our videos there.
You can go watch the video that got struck down by YouTube.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that thing.
We were going to cover another article today on Brunei, but we ran a bit long.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, do we really want to do another
Not really.
inspired piece after this?
Yeah.
What we just had?
I'm just gonna shut this down, and I'm gonna. It was like, how about that? It's like,
Yeah.
peace out, guys. Make sure you hit the like, subscribe, and
Ring that bell.
And ring the bell.
Smash that subscribe button.
And listen to the whiskey lullaby.
the whiskey lullaby. Peace out, everybody.
Yeah.
Have a good day.
Peace out.